Oliveira jabs at Poirier. If you don't want to fight me, I'll fight someone else for the belt, from Bloody Elbow.
Shit.
And his quote is, "So you don't want to face me for the 155 gold? What's next then? Who do I need to beat to have this lightweight title around my waist? Hashtag UFC." Oliveira wrote in response to Poirier. And this was actually in response to a tweet from Poirier when Poirier said that he wanted the trilogy fight against Conor. So, yeah. Well, I know we talked about this last week. I mean, not really, but like, it was in one of the topics.
Yeah.
Oliveira, I mean, who else like should he really fight, right? He fought Gaethje. Wait, no, he fought Ferguson. Sorry.
Yeah.
Who would be next?
So let's look at the winners of 155, like the people that are coming off wins, or just look at winners for a second.
Sure.
So the people that have won at 155 as of recent is Charles Oliveira, Dustin Poirier, and Michael Chandler. The closest person to that group of people would be also Justin Gaethje. So you have an opportunity to have Charles versus Justin Gaethje, Charles versus Poirier, or Charles versus Michael Chandler. The one thing that comes into play is what happens with the title, and does Dustin have to be in that title fight? If Dustin has to be in that title fight and Dustin is entertaining the idea of Conor McGregor, I think guys like Charles Oliveira, Michael Chandler, and Justin Gaethje might be upset that Conor gets that title fight instead of one of them, which I get it's warranted, but the UFC has the opportunity to play the trilogy card of like, okay, this is a trilogy. This should have been the first fight should have been a title fight, but we're gonna make this one. We're gonna see who is the king of the lightweight division. Conor's only lost to Dustin, which he beat last time, and he lost to Khabib, and everybody beats Khabib. Like Justin lost to Khabib, Dustin lost to Khabib. What do you want the UFC to do, really? They could the UFC can go out and make a Dustin Poirier versus Charles Oliveira fight for the title, which would be interesting. But I don't know if they do that though, because like Charles Oliveira is on a very good hot streak, but he's only beat Tony Ferguson out of the top 5, really. Like who else has he really faced or beat? I don't know if the UFC is very strong on Charles Oliveira getting the next title shot.
Well, let's combine the last topic with this one because it's the same thing basically. So I'll just say it. Joe Rogan believes Chandler would beat Conor and tells Poirier to fight Oliveira. And he said the purest option is Charles Oliveira. Rogan said about Poirier's next fight, if you're a purist, you want that fight. But if you want to make a lot of money before Conor fights someone else, you have the Poirier rematch. Here's the thing. If Conor fights Chandler next, which is a possibility, if Dustin fights Oliveira and Conor fights Chandler, what are the odds that Conor beats Chandler? I think Chandler is a favorite in that fight, which is very dangerous for your money.
Yeah.
Well,
see the situation surrounding this is, do we make a Conor and Dustin trilogy right away? We made a trilogy right away. Sorry, we made a rematch for Conor before immediately, and that was against Nate Diaz, right? We did that. Do we make a instant rematch with Dustin and Conor, which is obviously for cash grab, right? It's a big fight.
Instant, though?
What?
Like a few months? Because like if it happens in the summer, that's a pretty big gap.
No, yeah, I mean, like they're both the fights is a rematch. So, what are the alternatives? So you can give a title fight to Michael Chandler, but Michael Chandler hasn't really beat anybody except for one guy, right? And Dan Hooker. Charles Oliveira probably has the best case. He's coming off a win. He's on a long win streak, and he beat Tony Ferguson. But then again, it's only one person in the top 5, right? And Tony Ferguson is not in the top 5 anymore. Justin Gaethje just came off a loss for the title. Does he get an instant title shot? Like, you just lost, right? Why would you get another one? So it's really it's very strange, the situation. I don't know how the UFC is going to do it, because every single person that you can make a case for having a title shot, you can make another case for why they shouldn't get a title shot. Like Joe Rogan saying the purists want Charles Oliveira versus Dustin, I get what he means. Those guys are the guys that are coming off wins, plus they have the most credentials in the UFC. So they've had the longest win streaks. So they have the longest win streaks, and they are at the top of the division. Michael Chandler versus Conor, though, is a different story. I don't know if Michael Chandler versus Conor is a great matchup for Conor, just because of the wrestling avenue. Conor could go in there and starch him just by countering, because Michael Chandler thinks that he can strike with Conor, but there's also a chance that Michael Chandler just ends a Conor train and makes Conor have to reevaluate, or maybe Conor goes to 170. Who knows? I have no idea.
I mean, if he goes to 170, it would be against Diaz only, right? So, I mean, like, who else would he really fight at 170? So,
I think Diaz is done with 155 too. So so 170, Conor. I don't know, man.
It comes down to Chandler and Charles Oliveira. I mean, you know what a sick fight would be, to actually see who would fight next. It would be Oliveira and Chandler. I think that would be a good fight. And then you have the Poirier and Conor trilogy.
But what do you do with the title, though? What do you do with the title? Do you make it Conor versus you make Conor versus Dustin for the title?
Nope, you hold on to it.
Because Dustin's saying that regardless of what happens, he needs to have a title fight next. Because he
wants it next.
He's the most deserving. Yeah, he's like, I need that title, because in his eyes, he believes that he should be the champion right now. Like, he's beat.
How do you convince the fans that Conor should fight for a title next? If the trilogy happens,
yeah. So I don't know where you've been this whole time. This is what I'm talking about.
I know. I'm just saying.
yeah. So like, Dustin Poirier has the most claim to being a champion right now, right? He beat Conor. He beat Justin Gaethje. He beat who else did he beat? He beats a lot of people, right? So he has the most wins over other people at the lightweight position, right? The contenders especially.
Yeah.
So he needs to be in a title fight. But the issue is, if he does a Conor rematch, does that involve the title? Yes or no? And if it doesn't, then who gets the title fight? Is it Charles Oliveira?
Here's your answer. Here's your answer. Okay, I'm gonna answer you right now. Okay, you do Conor and probably, I think, Charles Oliveira, and then if Conor wins that, then you fight Poirier. But Conor has to be active, right?
But then who does Dustin face?
He has to wait till the summer.
What are you talking about? Why would he want to wait till summer?
Why not?
So you're gonna tell him, to sit down and no, but it's even past summer then, because then there has to be time in between Conor fighting Charles Oliveira to Dustin Poirier.
Let's say Conor fights in April or May.
Okay.
Right? And then Conor wins that. Conor fights Poirier in August or September.
I don't know, man. You're talking craziness now. So then what do you do with Michael Chandler?
Yeah, but like,
what do you do with Michael Chandler?
Michael Chandler, he has to come,
he makes
make weight and go home. And then go home.
So you're saying he'll be a fill-in for Dustin versus...
Or he fights Gaethje, maybe. He fights Gaethje. Honestly, man, the whole class is a big mess, right? Yeah. So you got to make of something. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. The UFC is I think that a title fight between Dustin and Conor is very, very appealing to them. I think it was maybe a mistake that they didn't make that first fight for a title fight, because then it would have made everything much easier. But they just hung on to the Khabib narrative and chance of that, which they shouldn't have done. They should have just let it go and awarded Dustin Poirier the belt, and then you would have had a situation where Dustin could have faced whoever, but at least he's a champion. So